No, do not trade for Juan Soto. We'll tell you why.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper Picks, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code. I just combined the two words, Locked On, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, so check out Sleeper today. It's currently operational in over 30 states. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve, does your mouth work today? Because mine apparently isn't.
Well, I guess we're about to find out, aren't we? We're going to test that out here over the next 30 minutes. Hey, guys, thanks so much for clicking on the show. We are still 5 days a week here on Locked On Yankees, even in the offseason. So thanks for hanging out with us. We're talking a little bit about the postseason. We got to talk about the Orioles being eliminated in less than dramatic fashion. We need to talk about a weird trend going on here in the new playoff format. That's later. We also want to talk about Hal Steinbrenner. Back in the news, came out to talk to the media about nothing, essentially. We'll talk about that later on. First, Stacey, this question of Juan Soto in New York. I'm seeing a lot of traction on this online and the rumor circle here in the early part of this quote-unquote offseason. Yes, I know the season's still going. But the question of whether Juan Soto is going to be traded is one in its entirety, but whether he's going to come to New York is a totally different part of it. So let's kind of talk about that today and why we both feel that he should not be traded for if you're the New York Yankees. Obviously, Juan Soto is a very talented ball player, and he solves some serious issues that the Yankees have in outfield help and a left-handed bat, right? That's clear. That's very clear that he would be a good baseball player in New York because he's been a good baseball player everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So why are we saying no? Why are we saying no? There's a couple of things that we wanted to get into, but I think part of this here too is, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but like it doesn't seem entirely possible that he gets traded in the first place.
Right.
Because the Padres are in a real weird, sticky spot right now where they need to be contending but aren't because they have all the pieces that should, in theory, have them contending. They just haven't been. And it's strange.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke about how weird the season was for a lot of teams, and the Padres were definitely one of those teams where they just, we spoke about it during the season. They just couldn't get anything going. I'm not even sure what their longest winning streak was, but it couldn't have been more than 4 games. Like they just kept having these weird little streaks of doing things, and they just could not get anything going, couldn't catch up to anyone. And it was just a really bad season for them, given everything they did before the season and previous to the offseason.
Yeah, especially considering that they kind of had a Yankees-esque September, and even then it didn't really do much. When it comes to being a trade partner, we've talked about this on the show before, Stacey, but when it comes to that is finding a fit for both teams is always going to be the goal or the realistic situation, right? Like both teams aren't giving up somebody for nothing. So we need to talk about what the Padres need and don't need, especially when it comes to what the Yankees have. And the things that the Padres need, Stacey, are high-end pitching like AAA, AA arms, Major League arms, and they need some catching help kind of in that same vein as well.
I mean, the Yankees have people, but do the Yankees want to get rid of those people? Because every time people come up with trade proposals, they're always throwing in the outfield guys and the infield guys and maybe a pitcher or two, like maybe one pitcher. And for this, the Yankees would probably have to trade maybe 2 pitchers at least, and maybe even a catcher with that. So you're looking at maybe a Clayton Beeter, a Will Warren, Austin Wells, someone like that could go easily to the Padres if this were a scenario. It wouldn't be those kinds of trades where, just send them Dominguez and send them Peraza, like that kind of a thing. That wouldn't happen now.
Yeah, it's, again, they're in a bit of a weird spot when it comes to that. You're also thinking Drew Thorpe in that conversation. And given the Yankees' recent failures when it comes to trading away pitching prospects and what it did to them in 2023, you go and you're looking at the 2024 roster, and let's say Yamamoto doesn't come to New York, you're going, How much do you believe in this rotation? And it's starting to get a little fickle immediately out of spring training. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at things that the Yankees have that the way they would in theory be willing to part with a little bit more, the Padres don't need, and that's infielders. They have so many in New York or in San Diego that they moved one of them to right field, and maybe the best one to right field.
I know. Yeah. That team, it's just so, well, like I said, they were so loaded and so expected to do more, and they just didn't. And I mean, this whole thing hinges upon Soto even being traded. And I know that was like a thing before the season, and his name always comes up as a possibility, and Yankee fans drool at the possibility of having a Juan Soto in the outfield with Aaron Judge. Because I mean, in fantasy land, that would be awesome, but I don't think it's realistic at this point.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that roster with Xander, Machado, Cronenworth being pushed to second. Ha-Seong Kim still feels like he's fighting for playing time over there. So it's like you're still fighting for playing time. And if you threw in a Volpe or a Peraza or a Sweeney into that mix, you're going like, dude, there's only so many infield spots here. So clearly the Padres aren't looking for that kind of help. It's more on the pitching front, which again, do the Yankees want to part ways for a second time around when they just got burned so badly? We're thinking no, it doesn't feel like it.
I don't think so. And I think that that's going to play a part. I think that's going to be in the back of the front office's mind, like just the badness of the 2022 trade deadline and all the stuff that they gave up for people who didn't pan out. And they're probably going to want to hold on to everyone.
Yeah, because they thankfully kind of got replenished in that front again. The high AAA arm, AA arm is coming right back around with Warren Beater, Thorpe, right back into the mix, and you're going like, okay, well, thankfully we had those guys to come right back, because otherwise it could have been 2-3 years where you're going, there's nothing there. So it's tough. It's super tough. There's other things we wanted to consider in this, Stacey, and I think the most important is of course, Juan Soto is in the final year of his contract in 2024 and will become a free agent. So you're trading for 1 year of Soto this offseason. How much do you believe in the 2024 Yankees at this point? And given 2023's failures with all the caveats you can possibly muster, we talked a lot about this yesterday on whether they should rebuild or not. We'll leave that episode linked in the episode description. But Stacey, do you think the Yankees are contending in 2024, even if they add Soto?
Contending as in making the playoffs, or contending as in possibly winning a World Series? Because,
well, if you're going for Soto, you got to be winning a World Series, no? You got to be at least pushing the ALCS.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you're just thinking get to the playoffs, you could see that happen with the Yankees if people stay healthy and things don't fall apart. But no, you would have to be believing that this team is going to be like a 95 to 100 win team and go far in the playoffs in order to do this kind of a thing just for 1 year of him.
Yeah, because Juan Soto in himself isn't enough, right? You're not thinking that as soon as Juan Soto comes to New York, now all of a sudden the Yankees are it. They are the team. They're not suddenly the Braves because, hello, your pitching staff still isn't there. You still got to pitch. Juan Soto can't be the only move here, just Carlos Rodon was the only move. And then you're thinking, all right, cool, we're good. It doesn't, It's not it. It's just not it. Right. It's not the same thing. It's not addressing all the issues the Yankees have.
Right.
And, we talked about it, but is he even available? How available really is he at this point? And is it worth 1 year when they're going to be asking a lot for it? Because the Padres don't have to trade Juan Soto.
Right.
And there's no guarantee that it's clear that he's having issues signing extensions. Couldn't do it in DC. It doesn't seem like it's happening right now in San Diego. So it's not like, okay, you get Soto for 2024 and all of a sudden now you're the prime candidate to get him back for the next 6 years. I don't know. I feel like regardless, Juan Soto is just going to go to free agency.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't think it's worth it to give up guys who you can see possibly in the rotation in the future. And, the Yankees need all the pitching they can get. And I just, again, that 2022 trade deadline, as bad as it was, I think might actually help the Yankees in the future.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, again, Juan Soto has all the talent in the world, and he would be a nice fit in New York, a left-handed bat, an outfielder, yada, yada, yada. We are not saying that he wouldn't help the team.
Of
We just
course.
don't know if this team is worth helping.
Yeah. Right.
And at what cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the cost is too high, and the team isn't good enough for him to even bother with at this point. So yeah, no. So it's nothing. Yeah, like you said, it's nothing against him. I mean, my God, in a perfect world, you'd want to get Juan Soto and like, 3 other people in the offseason, but that's not going to happen because that's what would help the Yankees. Juan Soto plus a few other people, but that's not going to happen.
Any other way, the reason it made so much more sense for San Diego in the first place because it was 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have 1.
Right.
So it's a lot tougher. I know you guys have feelings on this. I know there's a lot of opinions on this. So let us know in the comment section how you're feeling about what we said, the points that we've made, and if you agree or not. I know I don't even need to ask for that. You guys will let us know. Don't forget, it's Fan Mail Friday tomorrow here on Locked On Yankees. It's your last chance to get questions in, so reply to that pinned comment here on the YouTube side. You get Fan Mail Friday priority with subtext, so go check that out in the episode description. And again, I'll also leave a link to yesterday's conversation about is a rebuild worth it with the Yankees. All right, coming up next, Hal Steinbrenner talking about the weird audit stuff again. Is he though? We're going to discuss.
The MLB playoffs are underway, which means now is your chance to get 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Baseball's never been more exciting than it is now with the surging Rangers and the perennial Astros and Dodgers. Pick more or less on stats for the big stars like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more, up to a 100-time payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. If you were picking the Phillies to hit a bunch of home runs on Wednesday, you would have won big. I'm StaceFace826, so you can connect with me on Sleeper. And just because your personal fantasy team didn't go anywhere doesn't mean you have to miss out on winning this season. Use promo code LOCKEDON and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, and you can see Sleeper's terms of use for details.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, coming up tomorrow for you everydayers out there, you guys already know it's Fan Mail Friday, our first of the offseason, as a matter of fact. So get your questions in. Of course, ask us about the playoffs, ask us about the offseason, ask us about ourselves, if you so please, or anything under the sun. Our Fan Mail Fridays are every Friday now moving forward here in the offseason. Glad to have you guys aboard for that. All right, I'm leaving a link to this article in the episode description, and I'm going to go ahead and say it flat out, kind of a nothing burger, but it's the first Yankees news we've gotten out of this audit stuff. So we kind of had to talk about it. So Hal Steinbrenner went and talked to Brian Hoke of MLB.com and said the Yanks will be making some changes in the offseason. Uh-huh. All right, let me go ahead and read some quotes, Stacey. This first one, we're going to be making some changes, Steinbrenner said, according to the Associated Press. Some may be more subtle than others, but I think we've uncovered certainly things we can do better. He would also go on to say, I want you to challenge everything, all our philosophies, all our practices, but more importantly, in a respectful way, I want you to challenge each other. This is what he said to the group of the audit people. I want you to critique each other, check your egos at the door. And this last quote, at times it got a little dicey, but it was respectful the entire time. And there wasn't one stone we left unturned from health of the team, what we're doing in the clubhouse culture, what we do in the weight room, analytics, pro scouting, biometrics. Is there enough communication between everybody? Stacey, your thoughts on some of these Hal Steinbrenner quotes, the first of the offseason?
Interesting. The whole, we're going to be making some changes, some may be subtle. I don't know. I feel like you said, this whole thing is a nothing burger, and we're really just talking about it because it's the first thing we've heard in 6 days? Yankee related?
About a week, yeah. A week.
Yeah,
because it was Wednesday the 4th was when it was supposed to start, and we're recording this on the 11th.
Yeah, so I do find the one thing interesting, at times it got dicey, but it was respectful. So I do kind of like that people were pointing things out and probably discussing things that could go better. I just wish I knew which groups were talking to each other about what and what they were discussing, because I'm interested to know what was the thing that was getting people a little heated when they were talking about everything, because there's a lot to change. But again, I feel like this is all just words, and we're not going to see any major changes. And I don't feel like anything's really going to be done. I feel like this is just performative in a way. And I don't know. If they really wanted to change things, they'd be getting rid of a lot of people in certain departments. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think the word you used, performative, was a good word for this. Comes out and says things, but like they're basically nothing. Like, he's really saying nothing here.
Yeah.
And like, look, he doesn't have to come out and say, this is exactly what we did, and this is every conversation we ever had. Here's the transcripts. Like, sure, okay, I get that. But like, then just don't come out and say anything.
Exactly.
It doesn't, like, if you don't have anything of substance to say, then
why bother
here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? It's not like they're clamoring for your comments here. He came out and just said it. Like, here you go, Associated Press and everybody else. Here you go. Here's some quotes. Look, whatever. It doesn't. Until I see something, we need to see something here before we can render any sort of judgment. And look, we have our biases, and we have made our thoughts on this known, especially since the offseason started. I feel like we were a little bit more warm on how this was going to play out before the season ended. And then the Boone information came out, and then the miscommunication on how the audit was going to work came out. And we're going, you kind of lost faith in us. So that's kind of where I'm still at. I'm not full-fledged like, oh, well, this is going to be nothing. I'm not that cynical on it. Yeah. But I'm more still waiting to actually see something of substance. Maybe a week isn't enough time, but it's not off to like this incredible roaring start where you feel super confident in the process.
Yeah, I feel like a week isn't enough, because this isn't just this season. And I know people will think, well, they made the playoffs all those years. They got swept out of the ALCS. That was a big, something should have been done after last season. Let's be real, because I know everyone will say, well, they made the championship series. It's like, yeah, but did you see how they performed in the championship series? Did you see how hard it was for them to beat Cleveland? Like, it was a whole bunch of stuff, how they dipped in the second half after starting off really high, and just, there were a lot of things that they probably should have taken care of last season. And honestly, after last season's trade deadline, Hal should have done something about that too. But instead, he's like, oh, let's sign Boone again. Let's sign Cashman again. Like, nothing happened. And now all of a sudden they need to make all these changes. And again, make a real change. I don't want to see this wishy-washy stuff that we're probably going to see in a few weeks, because again, they can't do anything now because they don't want to take away from the playoffs. They'll get trouble from MLB if they do any major stuff. So we're going to have to wait until after November 4th, depending on how long the World Series goes. But I want to see the little changes. I want big changes, or else nothing is going to happen. It's going to be the same stuff year in and year out.
Yeah. And it just, for listeners and viewers, when you say last season, you mean 2022, just to clear that
up. Oh, yes.
Sorry. Sure. Yeah. I know. We're still early, so it's like 2023 still feels like this season. So, yes.
Yeah.
Last season, the 2022 season is what you're referring to in the ALCS in 2022. I just, again, until something actually comes out here, I think Yankees fans can kind of turn a blind eye to this kind of stuff first, just as maybe a bit of a PSA. A lot of it is talk, just like a lot of off-season stuff right now is just talk. And any article on Shohei might sign here is not real. Anything that's Juan Soto is considering that. No, none of that is it's just industry talk. It's just agents saying things to try and move the needle on things. Nothing's actually happening right now. Like, it's still just postseason baseball right now. So, hey, we appreciate you clicking on these episodes and still sticking with us and talking Yankees baseball. But I think we'd be doing a disservice if we're going, oh, well, Shohei did mention to his friend back in Tokyo that he texted him and that he knows who the Yankees are. Like, those are kind of insane that those types of things do end up turning into stories, and people click them, I guess, because people click them. So that's why they turn into stories. But that's not what we do here. So I'm not going to give credence to kind of stuff. And this is not in the same vein as that kind of thing, of these dumb little rumors. But at the same time, this is not substantive.
Right.
To one up you on the word game. If you're going performative, I'm going to throw in substantive.
Right.
But let us know how you're feeling about all this stuff, man. Clearly, we'll leave the link in the episode description. You can go read the whole thing for yourself. There's much more in there about how Garrett Cole is going to get briefed on this stuff. Apparently, he was not actually there. Aaron Judge was part of it. We knew that Cole was going to be a part of it, but I don't know. Again, the mixed messaging here, it's just kind of confusing on how this stuff has come out. But Cole was not there. Judge was. Cole was not. But Cole is going to be hearing. Just do something at this point. Just get to it. I'm getting a little antsy. Anyway, all right. There's no segue. Postseason baseball next. We're going to talk about it. I was trying to mix antsy in, but I was like, no one's antsy. Postseason baseball has been interesting. We've been talking about it here for the first week plus, so we got to continue that. Talk about the Orioles, the insane Phillies-Braves series. That's coming up next.
Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why our new sponsor, Jace Medical, offers the Jace Case. The Jace Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you peace of mind so that you're not just hoping you have access to medication in an emergency. Jace Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand. Jace Medical is simple. They handle everything from online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using code LOCKEDON at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com, and the promo code is LOCKEDON.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Stace, let's talk postseason baseball. It's still a whole bunch of fun. I want to start with the Phillies and Braves series. Dude, Bryce Harper. My gosh, 2-homer game. Nick Castellanos hit us with the meme again. They were talking about Charlie Manuel and him recovering from a stroke, and then Castellanos goes deep. So the meme is back. I mean, level with me, because this is not the first time Nick Castellanos has homered during a moment on a broadcast. Are they doing it on purpose? Are they trying? Are they egging it? Okay, wait. He's
we have to wait.
again.
We have to wait until he comes up, and then we'll start talking about this and see if it happens.
Yeah, is that? It's happened too many times at this point where I'm just like, what's going on?
Because it's not 1 or 2 times. We're talking about at least 4, 5, 6 times that something's happened where they're talking about something serious and he hits a home run. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm throwing the tinfoil hat on. Phil's hit 6 bombs against Atlanta. Now lead the series 2-1. Stace, if it weren't for that 3-run bomb in game 2 from Austin Riley, the Braves swept by the Phillies. What?
I know. What could have been? What could have been if that crazy game 2 didn't happen? Amazing. And I had a feeling. I don't know. I just had a feeling when they went back to Philly, it was going to be more of an easier game for them. And I mean, 10-2 is pretty easy. That's a decisive win. But Bryce Harper, man, I say it every time I see him hit a home run. I get so upset.
I know.
I just picture it. I'm like, look at him hitting all those balls to center, right to right. When he pulls, I'm just like, I'm picturing them going into the bleachers at Yankee Stadium, the short porch, and I just cry. It's so depressing.
Here's the thing, though. Bryce Harper without a beard, I'm not buying.
Oh, yeah, no, he would look
that
weird.
Would have been really weird.
Yeah, no, he would look weird.
That would have been not great.
Some guys look better with beards, let's be honest, because, I mean, I shouldn't talk. I have a giant jaw, too. But some guys have, no jaw, so they look better with beards covering
fill
it.
It makes fill it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bryce pulls off the beard great. How about him rounding second and kind of not John, but giving a little look to Orlando Arcia? It's a little look.
A little.
I know what you said. Look.
Yeah, right. That's basically what it is. And I like moments like that. It makes it fun when guys do that, because otherwise baseball would be boring if guys were just running around the bases like la 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 la, not doing anything. You want to see something.
Yeah. You know who wanted to see something? Baltimore fans. You know who saw nothing? Baltimore fans.
Literally.
Swept? Swept? I mean, Texas is hitting right now, but swept?
I know. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised and upset because my one World Series pick didn't make it.
Yeah.
Damn it, Baltimore. I was rooting for you. I was pulling for you like an AL East person shouldn't do. How dare you? How dare you? But like we said on yesterday's show, this is not a failure. It's a disappointing outcome, but it is not a failure. No one was expecting this team to do this yet. So good for you. You saw some great baseball, and you also saw that your team needs help in some departments for the playoffs. And hopefully your ownership will get the help that they need and then make it so, yes, they can win 100 games in the regular season, but also perform in the playoffs, because that's the important thing.
And they clearly have the trade chips to go out and get some help.
Yeah.
And I've been saying
they could have traded like half their farm system for Shohei Ohtani, and they'd still have a good farm system. Like, that's how good Baltimore is.
No, I've been saying it for a while, Stace, on the show, in public and in private. Shohei Ohtani to the Baltimore Orioles. I've been saying it for a while. Stacey, weird stat here after the Phillies-Braves game. How about this? First round bye teams in the last 2 years. So since this new format, the teams who have had the first round bye, 11-16. In the postseason.
Sometimes having too much time is not good. We saw it in, what year was it? 2007, when the Rockies were off for 9 days before the World Series and they got swept by the Red Sox because they were on a roll. And then they had all that time. And, you know, you're thinking, oh, guys can rest. But after a while, it's too much. And, you know, look out for Texas, because they're sitting at home waiting for the ALCS to start with an extra day.
Yeah.
If the score holds that we're, you know, because we're
currently in the middle
this,
of,
we're recording this the night before, as you guys know. So we'll see how that goes. Also, fun fact, the last AL East team to win a playoff game, the New York Yankees against the Cleveland Guardians in 2022, because the Rays, the Jays, the O's all got swept. And then also, let's not forget, the Rays and the Jays got swept last year. So
womp womp.
Womp.
I'm still on that one from you. Yeah, we're currently it's just past 9:00 Eastern time on Wednesday night. So we're like in the middle of this Twins Astros game. Astros currently 3-2, so the Twins could be eliminated. And of course the Dodgers can be eliminated on Wednesday night as well. You already know that happened because you're listening to this after those games. So we will talk about those on tomorrow's show. On Friday's Fan Mail Friday, we will also talk about, did anybody get eliminated? You already know. We don't. That's how recorded things work. We can't stay up every night. We did that all season. You know, we're not doing it again. Come on.
You saw what I look like during those West Coast road trip games. I look like I was falling asleep, and can't do that. It's too late here.
Too late. But we will talk about those tomorrow, so make sure to come back for that. Hit subscribe on either audio or video here on the YouTube side. And of course, Fan Mail Friday tomorrow. Subtexters get priority with that. We already got some subtext questions, so make sure to check out that episode tomorrow. And that's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. We'll see you tomorrow.